Before I start dealing with Schopenhauer again, I want to really tidy up this whole thing about fitness, and particularly the point that was made in the previous podcast about the whole damn thing being built out of lies. Well, why do I want to do that? Because if everything is lies, we have literally nowhere to turn to for anything that is real. And I'm going to be plugging an old theme, and hopefully this won't last more than 5 or 10 minutes. So, as Kant shows very persuasively, in my opinion, that our sensory capabilities are based on the way our mind works, not on what's actually out there, but the way our mind works in space, time, causality, and so on. And even with the way we think, our thoughts are based on what works for us. We think in a certain way. We don't think any old way. We think in a certain way. So our thoughts, our perceptions, the whole thing, the way we behave, is based on this notion of fitness, of surviving. And as such, survival as an individual takes us away from reality. Now, you can see the slide here. I'll get onto those quotes in a moment, but so we have, and here's the crunch line, we have lies and deception and illusion, maya, all around us. And that is the way we relate to the world, the universe, because that's what gives us our ability to survive. We, as we are, we don't really know what we are, but we as we are, do all the lying and the deception and create a veil of illusion ourselves. It's not created by some unknown thing. We do it because it gives us very strong survival capabilities. But guess what? Those lies, deceptions, the veil of illusion, all have one thing in common. They exist. It doesn't matter that they're lies. In fact, the only thing we can ever know is lies and illusion. But the fact that they exist is not a lie or an illusion. It's the one contact we have with what is real, the sense of existence, not things existing. We don't give a shit about things existing. You and I are temporary phenomena, but while we exist, we seem to have this unique ability, and out of the people on this planet, maybe 1 in 100,000, if that, might understand what is being talked about here. You have to remember that in the UK, and Mr. Gurdjieff was fairly high profile in all of this, in the UK they had 500 people who were practicing. Of those 500, I would say, I don't know, maybe 50 got it. 50 out of a population of 70 million. So it's more like 1 in a million, isn't it? So I know to some extent I'm flogging a dead horse. Because most people are going to say, well, of course they exist, of course things exist. It's not it. There's a sense of existence. The lies, your sensation of the color red. Things aren't red. This is something your mind produces. Because it's proved to be useful. Colours have proved to be useful. But the experience of red, and this is something that Hoffman talks about, which always makes me think that he's got a bit of a deeper background than he's letting on. It's the experience of these things, the existence of them, that cannot be explained. We cannot explain. Psychologists, neuroscientists cannot explain how we experience red or the smell of coffee. Anyway, lies, deceptions, it doesn't matter, because as soon as we recognize that those lies and deceptions and whatever else exist, we're out of the illusion. You know, it's sort of like pulling the curtain back on The Wizard of Oz. I guess you've seen the film. All the paraphernalia around him makes him look like he's some big, powerful figure, but pull the curtain back, and he's this, fairly inept little man pulling levers and all the rest of it. So, just as a reminder, Proposition 47 in Part 2 of the Ethics, Spinoza's Ethics. This is from the proof. The human mind has ideas. Remember, ideas are representations. It's just a different word that was used during Spinoza's time. Kant would use the word representations. Spinoza used the word ideas. The human mind has ideas from which it perceives itself, its own body, and external bodies as actually existing. So we perceive these things, our own body, external bodies, and the mind, through the representations that we have, the ideas that we have. We don't know the things directly, we only know them through the ideas that we have of them. Spinoza was, in his own way, saying the same thing as Kant, but he didn't develop it as fully. The human mind has ideas from which it perceives itself, its own body, and external bodies as actually existing. So it has an adequate knowledge of the eternal and infinite essence of God. As I've said many times, why does the mind have knowledge of the eternal and infinite essence of God? Because it can acknowledge that things exist. So the morning exercise, when you sense your body for 20 minutes, it's just a very, very good way of sensing the existence of something. In this case, your body. Or object meditation, same thing. Just sensing that something exists. I've got another little bit here from the short treatise, Book 2, Chapter 22. Because I'm always saying that the third kind of knowledge, and I think you probably know that when Spinoza got going, the first two things he wrote, he talked about what he calls in the Ethics the third kind of knowledge. He called it the fourth kind of knowledge in his earlier works. So the fourth kind of knowledge does not result from something else, but from a direct revelation of the object itself to the understanding. So the recognition that something exists is a direct revelation of that thing to your understanding. It's not something you think about. You're not thinking, oh, this exists, oh look, it's got red and green and yellow and it's tall and whatever else. It's just a direct revelation, a direct perception. And this is exactly the way people like Kant use the word. So, there are exercises in this on this channel, specifically the object meditation and body sensing, that will give you a sense of something existing. But it's something you can do several times a day or many times a day. Oh shit, yeah, there's existence. It may all be an illusion, a deception, a veil of illusion, lies, but actually the lies and the deception exist. I don't care that they're lies and illusion. What I really care about is the fact that they exist. Anyway, that's the best way I can explain that, and onward with Schopenhauer on the next podcast.